driving excellence in internal audit, risk management, and corporate governance across some of the most complex organizations. Ms Jagruti Samani.
I learned quite early that internal controls don't fail because the policy is wrong. I believe that they fail because the behavior around them is not aligned.
As someone with extensive experience in internal audit and governance, you've no doubt witnessed some of the challenges organizations face when it comes to maintaining ethical standards.
One thing I was very clear is the perspective. We need to be 100% responsible for our actions.
Hello everyone and welcome back to FaceTime with Leaders powered by Directors Institute World Council of Directors. I am your host Towell and today we are stepping into a world that doesn't always make the headlines but plays a huge role in shaping the success of every organization. We are talking about internal audit, risk management, governance and controls. The silent yet powerful force behind the scenes. And today we've got someone truly extraordinary with us. I am talking about Ms Jagruti Samani. With a strong academic grounding in commerce and professional training that began with her chartered accountancy qualification, she stepped into the world of audit with a depth of discipline and rigor that has defined her journey ever since. She's been in the game for over 3 decades now, driving excellence in internal audit, risk management, and corporate governance across some of the most complex organizations, not just in India, but also in the Middle East. She's built audit frameworks from scratch, led major SAP ERP implementations, managed fraud investigation, and helped shape some of the most respected governance structures we see today. And it's not just her technical expertise that sets her apart. She's also a mentor, a life coach, and someone who genuinely believes in guiding the next generation of leaders. She's currently leading the charge as the Group Chief Internal Auditor at W J Towell, and she's also an independent director at Entremonde Polycoaters Limited, where she chairs the Nomination and Remuneration Committee and serves on the Audit Committee. Ma'am, we're thrilled to have you with us today. How are you?
The pleasure is all mine, Tanay. Thank you so much, and I'm looking forward to our conversation today.
Lovely. Likewise, ma'am. Ma'am, every leader has a unique path that shapes their career, and your journey, I'm sure, is no exception. You've built an incredible career in internal audit, risk management, and governance over the last 3 decades. But we would love to, take you back a little bit. Like, how did it all begin for you? What sparked your interest in the field? And how did you find your way to where you are today?
Okay. Tanay, my interest in internal audit and risk management, frankly, started quite unexpectedly. You can, relate it to almost 3 decades ago. I continued with the CA firm where I did my articleship even after completing CA. And one fine day, my boss just came up to me and said that, hey, internal audit is entering a new era. Would you like to explore it? Instantly, I said, yes, okay, let's do it. But then I was so skeptical. I was nervous. I was not sure whether it was the right decision. But I said, okay, let's do it. By nature, I'm a person who's always been drawn to depth and clarity. Even when I walk an uncertain path, the thought instantly comes to me, is it the right path? Do we need to go there? What can go wrong? And those kind of things basically, keep pondering in my mind. So eventually what had happened is internal audit and control thinking had become my second nature, if I have to say. So much so that my husband would, always tell me that, hey, keep your internal audit instinct, at office. But I could, frankly, not stop it. So basically, that's how my journey with internal audit and risk management began. And I was able to resonate with the risk and control framework to the person who I am, basically detail-oriented and disciplined. So that's how my journey began. And one more, as I progressed in life in my career, one episode, actually, was a turning point for me. We had an assignment where we were doing this internal audit for a big corporate. Of course, I will not name it. And I noticed that quarter on quarter, the internal audit reports were going blank. And this time my team found almost 10 high risk areas. And they were like, ma'am, how do we report this? Will the company like it? And I was wondering, where is this coming from? Then I got to know that actually it was a CFO who has always been presenting the report to the audit committee. So I was like, I said, no, this approach won't work for me. And I will not sign something which I'm not comfortable or not aligned to it. And actually, that was my turning point. I decided that I will not do anything which is against my ethical principles or something which I don't resonate with. That's when it all started. And I believe that risk is not a function, it is a culture. And risk not always takes place because of a malice or a bad intention, but sometimes even because of confusion, blurred accountability. You can find absence of clarity where risks could take place. So I think you bring in clarity and half your battle is won. This thought came from you know from a quote or a reference. Clarity reduces noise, basically. That's it.
Very well said, ma'am. And sometimes what you start with, you get interested in it, and the character you have builds the job you do, and vice versa, and it slowly amalgamates as we go ahead. You've always been passionate about building strong internal control systems that help organizations meet objectives, mitigate risks, and achieve compliance. Overseeing internal audit functions requires both technical expertise and leadership skills, particularly when building a culture of accountability. So let's talk a little bit about leadership. How do you foster a culture where accountability is ingrained at every level of an organization? And could you please mention some of the things you have done to ensure that these controls aren't just policy on paper, but something the employees can understand and adapt?
Tana, I learned quite early that internal controls don't fail because the policy is wrong. I believe that they fail because the behavior around them is not aligned. One instance I'll give you is that when my team was reviewing, the internal audit for one of the operations, and they reviewed the SOP processes and policies. Everything looked so fine. The policy was well documented, and it had a version control. It had signatures. Everything looked so fine. But was this policy communicated with the person who had to implement the processes, basically? No, the answer was no. They were just doing what they thought was right, and they thought that what they were doing was right. Basically, that's where it all landed. That was the moment I realized that controls don't bring accountability. It's actually the people who do. So from that moment, I took it up as my personal leadership priority to build a culture of accountability within the organization. So what I did is I changed my approach a bit. Basically, I made it more relatable. When you relate the controls, it becomes a little easier to implement. So instead of explaining a person in terms of controls vis-a-vis compliance, I explain the purpose. So when you tell a person, that why a stock difference is important, okay, it doesn't only hit your bottom line. When it hits your bottom line, it impacts your incentives. Okay. Then when you talk about documentation, it builds in trust. Okay, when you talk about a safety measure, why is it important? It's linked to somebody's life. So when you bring a purpose element in the whole part of it, the accountability becomes more easier. Then what we did was we brought presence. My team would personally go and not just like on paper would do the audit, discuss with the operation people, warehouse people, go and discuss with them, understand where they're coming from, what are the challenges. So when you bring when you're a part of them, it becomes quite easy to understand where they're coming from. And instead of having it as control versus operations, to actually we are in it together, things become easier. So adaptation becomes quite easier, not just because now the controls have become less strict, but because they feel more a part of it. And accountability, I feel in different industries, although they look different, but according to me, it means the same. Okay. At the board level, accountability, like it builds resilience, it reduces confusion and surprises, and helps in better decision making, even in terms of stress or pressure situations, basically. So fostering an environment of accountability is very simple, according to me. Make it meaningful, keep it human, and explain them that the controls are there to facilitate you and not basically restrain you from doing whatever you want to.
Ma'am, you have an extraordinary list of professional qualifications from CAA, CISA, and CIA to ACFE, CMA, ICWA, PMP, and even a certified corporate director credential. What motivated you to continuously pursue such a diverse and extensive set of certifications throughout your career?
Tanay, actually, my journey with qualification didn't start in a boardroom, if I have to say. It started in a small home in Mumbai with my parents, who actually were not very educated, but they wanted to impart this education and learning into me, and they wanted me to grow in life. That's when I basically started my education and learning journey. I was actually very studious at school and a topper, of course. And in grade 8, I knew that which college I wanted to go to, and that I wanted to pursue chartered accountancy. I remember this episode where, where I was studying for my CA exams and I used to stay awake the whole nights and all. I remember my mother used to stay awake with me every night just in case I needed one cup of coffee, just to stay awake in the night. I think that's the greatest symbol of love and, love and sacrifice that I've ever experienced in my life. Then I started my journey. I got married and I moved to Muscat. Uh, and I had my daughter when she was around 1.5, 2 years, I guess. I continued with my study journey in terms of my CISA, CIA, CMA, and whatever you have named them. My intention was that in case I wanted to go back to India, I wanted to be a little competitive. But eventually I realized that actually I had fallen in love with learning. And from them, I think there is no going backwards and no looking backwards. So yeah, that's when it all started. Within my organization, I was also heading the SAP ERP implementation project, and that was a superb learning phase that I had. In terms of, we worked for almost 18, 20 hours a day, but that was like so much of fun. And I learned so much: leadership, time management, resilience, everything. So that was so nice. Then when we moved back, again, we moved back to India for my daughter's education. And again, I was trapped in this learning zone. And this time it was with certified corporate directorship. As you mentioned, I'm already on the board of Entremont Polycotas Limited. And I also pursued my certified life coach certification because I felt that besides your, technical expertise, a blend of empathy and self-awareness also helps you to be a better person, I guess. So if you have to ask me why so many qualifications, I guess every phase of my career demanded a better version of me, be it finance, fraud, governance, be it technology. In every phase, I learned something, and that's made me the leader that I am. But I owe everything, absolutely everything, to my mother, who just didn't give me, but given me life and her value system that I carry. She's told me never to stop learning, never stop growing, and never take things for granted. And one main thing that she told me is always do things which are ethically correct. Because even if nobody is watching you around, you know that your conscience is. So I think I will always cherish that one cup of coffee that my mother stayed awake with me for, just to help me study further.
Yeah. Because at that moment of time, that is what care and affection is, right? And that's something that made you start to go towards your dream, and it's the start of probably every kid's journey. Ma'am, you're a certified life coach and you actively mentor others as they navigate their careers. Given your leadership experience and your passion for empowering women, how do you integrate your coaching skills into your executive roles, and how can organizations better create opportunities for women to rise into leadership positions, especially in fields like governance and risk? Like, what steps do you think are essential to ensure women have a seat at the leadership table?
Tanay, I've always believed that coaching isn't different from leadership. It's the way we unlock our true potential every day. Mentoring has always been very close to my heart. Actually, in grade 8, I was, giving tuitions for maths to students of grade 3 and 4. during my internal audit tenure also, I've been guiding my team on the auditing practices, so much so that till date, every Guru Purnima, I receive messages of thank you, for shaping our future. I think that's the proudest moments that I can feel, because that's when they've given it back to you and you have given it back to them. So it's like a mutual connect that you can say. Okay, one other experience what I would like to share is one of my team members, just one of the days she just came up to me quite nervous, uncertain, curious, and like she was a little skeptical and worried. And she said, "Can I have a word with you?" I said, "Yes, please. Let's. What's troubling you, kind?" So she said, "I am not sure whether governance is the place where I should be." She was technically very sound, I mean, very good, but she was not sure what she wants to do. And that time I could find a younger version of me in her, the same phase and the same stage where I was at one point in my life. So we had a long chat, discussed what were the problems, where she was coming from, and what were what was her thought process. And then she was able to get clarity and decide for herself. So I feel that leadership is not just about directing, okay, you need to do this, but also guiding them, helping them, hand-holding them, and helping them to basically choose their own path. Basically, that's what I would feel. As a certified life coach, one thing I was very clear is the perspective. We need to be 100% responsible for our actions. We cannot blame it on others and say that, okay, this was a situation and that's how this happened and that happened. So we need to own our actions, and our choices determine the outcome. Okay, so I've been also telling my mentees, that attitude is very important. In case you want to succeed in life, you cannot have work with the wrong attitude, because attitude is a word which totals to 100. It shapes your resilience, your commitment, your leadership, and your success. So that's how I approach, and this life coaching has given me that perspective to even guide and take it forward to my, my staff. I was the only female in my organization who had reached a leadership role, and I was heading a function in my organization. And with this SAP implementation project that I handled with so many challenges and like sleepless nights that we had, we proved that, it's a one-time male-dominated environment was no longer existing, and females were also at par with a male in reaching and achieving goals which were, not earlier thought as to be their zone or their area. And believe me, this was this project I had taken when my daughter was just 4 years old. So we can do it, is what I will say. And I feel that women have the capability. All they need is the right opportunity, the confidence, and the courage to walk that path. So when women lead, and it's not just filling a seat, they they shape the environment, they inspire others, and they create a ripple effect that touches their teams, the organization, and the community. So I believe that the organization should also walk one step forward in terms of supporting them and show and demonstrate genuine sponsorship, create a culture where women are also recognized, and celebrate their success. That's when I feel that leadership will not just be a position, it will be a responsibility and an opportunity for lifelong cherishment.
Yeah, yeah. Very true. And if the whole community comes together, then it will only help in growth of the community as a whole.
Yes, true.
Okay, ma'am, now time for a rapid fire round. Perfect. So quick questions. I request you some quick answers, and here we go. Lovely. What's the first thing you do when you wake up?
I think open my eyes with gratitude.
Lovely. Your favorite comfort food after a long day?
Puran puli.
Nice. What's one hobby or activity that instantly relaxes you?
Actually, strange. I like to watch Netflix courtroom series.
Oh, nice. If you could pick one superpower, what would it be?
Make people unstoppable in pursuing their dreams.
No. A book that has had the most impact on you?
Pursuit of happiness.
One country you haven't visited yet but is on your bucket list.
I guess I would like to explore my India first.
No? What's your favorite movie to watch over and over again?
Mamma Mia.
Oh, nice. What's one skill you think all future leaders should develop?
Resilience.
Nice. Great, ma'am. That was a short and sweet rapid fire round. Ma'am, as someone with extensive experience in internal audit and governance, you've no doubt witnessed some of the challenges organizations face when it comes to maintaining ethical standards. In recent years, we've seen high profile scams such as the Wirecard scandal in Germany or the recent accounting irregularities at certain multinational companies. How do you think internal auditors and governance structures should evolve to prevent such frauds and ensure stronger accountability? Like, what role do you think the leadership plays in fostering an environment where ethical practices are prioritized over financial performance?
In my experience, fraud rarely happens because controls don't exist. It happens because they're just treated as paperwork when issues aren't escalated, and where the culture discourages, for people from openly speaking up. So to avoid frauds like Wirecard, the internal audit and governance framework needs to evolve from a reactive review to a more continuous monitoring based system, and where it is more data driven to give us more assurance that things are going fine. Tools like AI and continuous monitoring tools could be used, where large volume of data can be processed and churned, and you can get exceptions at a click of a button, and maybe you can also notice some patterns of ambiguity and things not happening in place. Even technologies like blockchain can be used, which provides, clear tamper-proof transaction trail. This makes frauds a little difficult, to take place, of course, but technology alone isn't enough. Poor data collusion and over-reliance on a model could, create the blind spots. So I feel that culture and leadership are equally important as the systems. So strong governance would basically need a culture of a proper escalation path, then independent oversight. Then you could have, the whistleblowers protected, and incentives could be given for doing the right thing, not just, for achieving your targets. So when you have the tone at the top is very important here, where even the top management supports these processes and decisions, and where ethical decisions are appreciated rather than condemned. So that's when an organization would reach its stage of resilience. So according to me, all three are equally important. You need sound systems, you need a healthy culture, and a leadership that will demonstrate integrity. So according to me, governance is not just it's not just a lock, but a network that must all build together and work together.
Yeah. Like you said, it's culture that needs to be set across everybody. Ma'am, you recently joined Directors Institute. We would love to know what was it about the institute that attracted you, and how has being part of the DI community shaped your perspective on leadership and governance at the boardroom level.
I've been receiving mails from the World Directors Institute, and I was, consciously avoiding to attend those sessions because I knew that once I attend the session, I would be like, hooked up to it, and then I would end up enrolling myself, and that's exactly what happened. I felt the spark of curiosity and the hunger to learn something new. When I went through the modules, like I felt, okay, now it felt like a storybook actually, like to see what's next. So that I found it very, very interesting. I realized that this was a place where I could see the board not just in theory but in action. After joining the DI, I was amazed by the depth of practical insight which the faculty and the peers, had. It was not just about governance as a checklist. It was the real challenges that they face, the honest conversations, and the way the directors handle and approach challenges and pressure and ambiguity. So that was something very amazing. Earlier, I used to review governance through a checklist, basically. After joining DI, it changed my whole perspective, and I started looking at long-term and strategic roles which the board had. And I was wondering what is it that we are doing different. And I realized, even as an example, if I have to say, as an NRC committee chairman, I used to just see whether, okay, this is in compliance with the percentage, and okay, as a resolution being passed. But the role of NRC is not just related to the board's remuneration. It goes beyond, even to see whether the senior management level, the employees, everybody is well paid, and you have a good, satisfied workforce. So that's when I started looking at things in a broader perspective, and rather than having and trying to fix short-term fixes. We looked at the emerging risk and what could be done better as an organization. So if I have to say, after joining DI, my thought process changed. I paid closer attention to the way I engage, be it succession planning, be it board appraisals, be it the CSR initiatives, or the ESG compliance for that matter. So I was more involved in terms of reviewing the emerging risks, the health of the organization, and creating an environment where everybody is free to share their thoughts and views, and they're able to help in better decision making for the organization as a whole. So I guess what I will say is I've started wearing a different thinking cap, and that's really helping me.
Lovely, ma'am. Thank you so much for those kind words and for this conversation, because from hearing about your incredible career journey to diving into the complexities of internal audit, governance, and leadership, this has been nothing short of inspiring. And your insights into how, we can lead with integrity, create opportunities for others, and adapt to ever-changing the business world rather, has been truly invaluable. So thank you so much for joining us on FaceTime with Leaders, powered by Directors Institute World Council of Directors.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Really appreciate it.
Most welcome, ma'am. To all of you listening, I hope today's episode has sparked some new ideas on leadership, governance, and the power of staying true to your values. If you're looking to step up your leadership game, take a page from Ms Jagruti's book, Lead with Purpose, Embrace Change, and never forget the impact you can actually make. I'm Taneol signing off, and as always, stay curious, keep leading with purpose, and of course, have fun in your journey. Thank you so much.